Alright, also look. Ooh, welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down as well as giving my critical retrospective on UFC 313's full card. So, with that being said, without further ado, let's get right in to the video. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share so you can help me reach 2,000 subscribers by May. I'll deeply appreciate you. And make sure you join the official UFC Discord, link in the description. Alright, so look, before we get into the video, I want to preface that UFC 313 was an insanely great card for me as far as picks and predictions go. I mean, dog, I went 9 for 10 on picks last Saturday night, and this card really did surpass my expectations. But enough ramble, let's get right into my UFC 313 full card critical retrospective. And look, for the curtain jerker of the card, we had Ozzy Diaz defeating DeJordan Santos by unanimous decision victory. And look, this fight was a spectacular way to start off UFC 313 because it was an absolute barn burner of a brawl. A cool little back and forth of exchanges from both Santos and Diaz, but with Diaz's better shot selection in the second round and outstriking him in the third, that was probably what gave him the edge on the scorecards. And remember everybody, close fights aren't robberies, even though I did give it to Santos. But all in all, great win by Ozzy Diaz. Next up on the card, we had Myron Santos beating Francis Mitchell by split decision victory. And look, this fight was an extremely competitive tactical battle from both Mitchell and Santos, but even though it was a close fight, I really wasn't mad at the decision to give Santos the nod at the end of the day. Overall, great win by Myron Santos. Next up on the card, we had Carlos Lael beating Alex Morono by first round TKO. And man, was this an exciting fight as long as it lasted. I mean, both guys were giving it everything they had until Carlos Lael started to increase the volume and apply tons of pressure and outwork and break Alex Morono with a combination of body and head strikes. Great win by Carlos Lael. Next up on the card, we had Bruno Ferreira dispatching of Armand Petrosyan by second round submission victory. And, you know, to be 100% honest with you guys, this fight was a pretty close one while it lasted. I mean, Ferreira was having some trouble completing his takedowns earlier on in the fight, but as we got into the later ends, he did find one against Petrosyan, transition into an armbar to close the show. Great win from Ferreira, but might I add, during the fight, Armand Petrosyan did commit about 2 low blow fouls against Ferreira and actually got himself a point deduction. Does this mean better foul calls from UFC refs from this point moving forward? Who knows? And now last, but certainly not least, for the prelim fights, where we had my boy, Josh Van, coming out on top against Ray Saruya by a unanimous decision victory. And look, y'all, it actually happened exactly how I called it. And, you know, it really is looking like 2025 is the year of the no longer undefeated. But like I mentioned in my pre-fight breakdown, and look, if you haven't already, go hit that subscribe button so you can stay with me and keep up with every pay-per-view pre-fight breakdown I've got, because your boy is a bona fide fortune teller. So when I'm looking at this matchup stylistically, I believe that Saruya's best outcome to victory is playing into his strong suit on the ground. But with Josh Van's notable takedown defense along with his striking superiority, I believe that those two factors alone are enough for Josh Van to not only overpower but overwhelm the UFC newcomer. Now, stacked out upon the potential pace as well as, you know, volume he's able to maintain during a fight, similar to how he did against Cody Durden back in December, yeah, this pick is a no-brainer, and I'm going with my boy, Josh Van, to get the dub by either third round TKO or unanimous decision over. I stated that the greatest window to victory for Saruya was for him to play into his wrestling background, but at the end of the day, it actually wouldn't have mattered anyway, because of Josh Van's incredible takedown defense that he would have used in order to negate the takedowns and keep this fight on the feet where he's got the clear striking superiority. And that's literally what happened the entire fight. Almost as if I'm able to see the future. Nah. Overall though, Joshua Van put on an absolute masterclass of a performance against Ray Saruya. And aside from the one impressive judo throw by Ray, the fight was entirely in Joshua Van's control. Even when Saruya did manage to secure a couple takedowns, Josh Van quickly got back up to his feet, worked in the clinch, and connected with effective and sharp combinations that stung the formerly undefeated flyweight prospect. He defended nearly every single takedown from Saruya, allowing maybe 2 or 3 to get through. But it was clear as day that Saruya was desperately trying to make something work, but his skill set is still developing, and that being said, at just 22 years of age, he's still got plenty of room to grow. And as for Joshua Van Gang, stand the fuck up, because I'ma keep telling y'all that this cat's the real deal, and he's on the trajectory to becoming a serious flyweight contender in the not so distant future, and I cannot wait. I think it's time to give him someone ranked within the top 15 now. And, I'm hearing rumblings of, a potential Kai Asakura matchup, which I would absolutely love to see. Overall, fantastic win by my boy, Josh Van. And now, opening up the main card, we had Mauricio Rufy beating Bobby King Green by a first round highlight reel nasty wheel kick KO to the dome piece. And ooh-wee, exactly what was expected going into this matchup. And look, like I called in my pre-fight breakdown, this was always going to happen, and Mauricio Rufy is just a straight up marksman on the feet. And I'm completely convinced at this point that if there's a chin to find, Mauricio Rufy's gonna find it. And for Bobby Green, at this point with, that hands down fighting style of his, it's basically like serving up his chin on a silver platter. Like, dog, if you look at the slow-mo, you can see Bobby Green with his hands down, just clueless to what's coming next. So, yeah, Green got slept, Mauricio Rufy and the Fighting Nerds' stock have skyrocketed once again, and we got another highlight reel brutal KO finish in the books, with this probably already being in the running for Knockout of the Year. And so for his post-fight speech, Mauricio Rufy called out Beneil Dariush, but let's be real right now. The likelihood of that fight getting made are pretty unlikely, being that I just don't think that the UFC are going to feed Dariush to an up-and-coming prospect who just so happens to be a KO artist after kinda scuffing him during UFC 311. But all in all, like I've said before, I've got major high hopes for the Fighting Nerds, especially Mauricio Rufy. And I think for his next fight, he should be ready to take on someone within the top 15. Maybe someone like a Grant Dawson, or, maybe a Rafael Fiziev coming off of a loss? Who knows? But great win from Mauricio Rufy. Next up on the card, we had Amanda Lemos defeating Yasmin Luciendo by unanimous decision. Just like how I predicted it would go in my pre-fight breakdown. Great win by Amanda Lemos. Next up on the card for the featured fight of the night, we had Ignacio Bahamondes pulling off a first round submission finish over Jalen Turner with a triangle choke that quite literally no one saw coming. And you see, at the beginning of the round, Jalen Turner had zero trouble taking him down, but once they were on the ground, Ignacio Bahamondes scrambled, found Turner's neck, and sunk in his legs for a triangle choke. Absolutely humongous win by Ignacio Bahamondes that not only, demonstrated that even though his takedown defense isn't all that great, he is still a danger on the ground, but earning his way into the lightweight top 15. Meanwhile though, Jalen Turner did decide to hang it up and retire after his loss against Ignacio Bahamondes that night. And, honestly, while I do respect Jalen Turner's decision to retire, with him summoning it up to it being better for his mental health, I really do believe that this was a waste of talent. The cat's only 29 years of age and not even at his prime yet. And I bet if he just moved up to the welterweight division so he didn't have to be a 6'3" lightweight cutting to 155, he'd have a lot more success. But overall, really great win for Ignacio Bahamondes. And now for the co-main event of the evening, where we had Justin the Highlight Gaethje coming out on top against Rafael Fiziev by unanimous decision victory. And look, man, these cats did not disappoint whatsoever. I mean, they promised us a war, and they gave us a war. It played out exactly as I expected it to. And Fiziev started off strong. He looked sharp on the feet and, was super successful in stuffing Gaethje's takedowns. But, as the fight wore on, his gas tank became a major problem. And just like I expressed in my pre-fight breakdown, cardio has never been a Rafael Fiziev strong suit. And, taking this fight against Justin Gaethje, the third-ranked lightweight in the world, on 12 days' notice and off of an injury, only made it worse. And look, Justin the Highlight looked absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he pushed a relentless pace, landed the bigger shots, and dropped Fiziev with an uppercut in the second round, and just completely took over the majority of that fight against Rafael Fiziev. He looked sharper than ever, and it's clear to see that knockout over Max Blist ain't hinder him one single bit. And now, as for Justin the Highlight's next fight, and you see, I'm hearing a lot of people wanting them to book the Dustin the Diamond trilogy match for his retirement. And not only do I think that's a shit idea, but both Dustin and Justin don't want it either. I think for Justin Gaethje's next matchup, you book him up against Islam Makhachev for a title shot. And look, I can already hear it now. Oh, why are you giving Justin the Highlight a title shot? I mean, he just got flatlined by a featherweight just a year ago. And, that's cool, I get it. But Islam Makhachev needs new blood and has never fought Justin Gaethje before. And now with Ilia El Matador now in the fray, the lightweight division has gotten a whole lot spicier. But as for his first fight in the 155-pound division, I don't think they're going to give him Islam Makhachev off rip. I think the UFC are probably going to give Ilia Topuria someone like a Arman Tsarukyan. And look, I know they've already came out to say that Ilia and Arman don't want this fight, but their word isn't final. It's the UFC's. And while that's happening, they'll have Max Blist fight Dustin the Diamond for his last dance. So then in the meanwhile, they can book the Islam Makhachev versus Justin Gaethje matchup. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Sounds like a win-win in my book if you ask me. And now for the main event of the evening. And new Magomed Ankalaev, the new undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, winning a razor-close decision victory against Alex Poatan during UFC 313. And look, you see, I'm kind of feeling pretty indifferent about this fight, honestly. Like, even though I did pick Poatan to take the dub at the end of the day, and, he obviously lost, I'm not necessarily angry at the outcome. I'm more confused, if anything. Because, look, obviously, coming into UFC 313, the consensus throughout the entire MMA community was that Magomed Ankalaev was going to be Alex Poatan's kryptonite, his stylistic nightmare. And, seeing what he did on Saturday night, it really did seem to be the case. At the end, I scored it a 48-47 for Magomed Ankalaev, giving him rounds 2, 4, and 5. And I actually think that the real swing round was round 3. That's where I thought the fight was truly decided, in my opinion. And look, I've actually been seeing a lot of people argue that Magomed Ankalaev didn't do enough by just holding Alex Poatan to the cage in the later rounds, with them even comparing him to Mario Bautista of all people. And, normally I'd agree, but here's the thing. Alex Poatan wasn't doing anything either. I mean, he was extremely hesitant and was barely letting his hands go. I mean, whether it was age or the threat of the takedown or something else, he just wasn't pulling the trigger. And even though Magomed Ankalaev didn't land a single takedown, his constant pressure as well as clinch control clearly had Alex Poatan second guessing himself the entire duration of the fight. But here's how I saw it. In round 1, it was a clear Alex Poatan round. I mean, he was chewing up Ankalaev's leg early and did very well with the distance management. Round 2 was a clear Magomed Ankalaev round. I mean, he was outstriking Alex on the feet and was a lot more active and even cracked him bad at the end of the round, almost putting him away. As for round 3 though, this is where things get a little tricky. And I mean, I gave this round to Alex Poatan, even though Ankalaev did control Alex in the clinch. Once they got separated, Alex landed the better shots and showed a bit more activity. Just did better than Big Ank overall in this round. Round 4 was a pretty clear Magomed Ankalaev round. I mean, he held up Alex Poatan against the cage for almost the entire round, and once they did separate briefly, Magomed Ankalaev did land the better strikes. And as for round 5, and you know, apart from round 3, I actually thought that this round was probably the most contentious. But apart from the control time, I just thought that overall, Big Ank was just the more active and the more effective striker on the feet this round than Alex Poatan. This one had to go to Big Ank as well. I really do think that it all kinda just came to a surprise to Alex Poatan, honestly. I think after the first round, when Big Ank started to give Alex different reads with both the threat on the feet and the takedown threat, it started to somewhat overwhelm Alex in a way, making him very hesitant to throw as frequently. And if there's anything we've learned about Alex Poatan during this fight, it's that one of his underrated weaknesses are actually getting put on the back foot. Because with Big Ank continuously gaining momentum, he started applying a lot more pressure, volume, and upping the pace to the point where it was completely submerging Poatan. But all in all, it was a very close and contentious fight in some aspects, but I do agree with the victory. As for what's next, I know a lot of people are talking about an instant rematch, but I actually want to see something a little bit different. I think for Magomed Ankalaev's first title defense, he should take on Yuri Prochazka instead. And hold up, hear me out real quick. First and foremost, I think Alex Poatan needs a break. Not only was he the most active champion in 2024, but he was one of the most active UFC athletes of 2024. And so I think that this all gas no break type of lifestyle is kind of hindering Poatan in some aspects. And instead, he should take a bit of a break, and then in the meantime, we'll have Magomed Ankalaev take on Yuri Prochazka. And then later in the year, we'll have Alex Poatan fight the winner of that fight in his comeback. Kinda sounds like a win-win for everybody if you ask me. But that's all I've got to say for this video. Let me know in the comment section below, what were your guys' thoughts on UFC 313's full card? And if you were to ask me, I'd kind of rate this card a 8.5 out of 10, honestly. It really exceeded my expectations, and you know, the prelims didn't disappoint. The fighting nerds are on the top of the world, and Gaethje's back, and you know, we've even got a new light heavyweight king. This sport's just full of surprises, but let me know in the comment section below. But that about wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.